I should tell you up front that I wasn't there. Someone was. She had my face, my voice, my name. She knew my mannerisms well enough to fool a man who had known me for years. She sat in the briefings I should have been in. She built relationships with people who would become my teammates, using my smile, my history, my reputation. Her name was Vanessa Carlysle, call sign, Copycat. She was very good. This is the story of how X-Force was born. I'm going to tell you what I've pieced together. Every decision, every loss, every tragedy that turned Xavier's students into Cable's soldiers. What I know for certain is that it began long before anyone in that mansion knew my name. Charles Xavier built a school. That sounds simpler than it was. What he actually built was a proposition that mutants and humans could coexist, that fear had an educational solution, that the children who arrived at his door, frightened and dangerous, could be taught to use what they were in service of a world that mostly wanted them gone. The X-Men were his argument. The New Mutants were his evidence. I didn't know Xavier. Operationally, I had opinions about his methodology. You don't survive the world Cable and I worked in by relying entirely on the goodwill of people you're protecting. But I understood what he was building. I understood why it mattered.
The dream is not naive because it is difficult. It is necessary because it is difficult. Every generation must choose what kind of world it will inhabit. We are choosing now.
The world did not cooperate with the proposition. By the late 1980s, the New Mutants had survived things that would have ended most professional military units. The Beyonder, Magneto as headmaster, the Mutant Massacre, when Mr. Sinister's marauders moved through the tunnels beneath New York and turned a community into a crime scene. They lost Douglas Ramsey, Cypher, a boy who could speak every language ever devised by any intelligence in the universe. He was not built for the field. He went anyway. They lost Ileana Rasputin, magic, consumed by the power she had spent her childhood learning to control. The team Xavier had assembled as proof of his dream was smaller, quieter, and sadder than it had ever been. They kept showing up.
We were tired. Not in the way that makes you quit. In the way that makes every good thing feel like it costs more than it used to. We were still believing, just more carefully.
And then, Cable arrived. I know Nathan Summers. I know him better than anyone in that mansion knew him the day he walked in. I know what it costs him to cross a room when the virus is bad. I know how he thinks under fire. I know the specific silence he uses when he's decided something is worth dying for and doesn't want an argument about it. I was not there when he arrived at Xavier's school. Everything I'm about to tell you is technically secondhand. What the New Mutants saw was a large, scarred man with weapons that didn't exist yet, moving with the specific economy of someone who had been fighting, constantly, without meaningful pause, for longer than most people are alive. His left arm and eye were converting from flesh to living metal. The techno-organic virus had been doing that since he was an infant, sent forward through time from a catastrophe that hadn't happened yet to a future that had barely survived it. Most of his considerable mutant power went entirely to holding the infection back. No one in that school knew any of that. They saw a soldier who looked at a team of traumatized teenagers and said with complete seriousness, "You are not ready." He was right. Teams don't assemble, they accumulate. Shatterstar arrived first. Mojo World, a dimension run by a spineless alien media baron who had long ago discovered that authentic suffering sold better than anything he could manufacture. Shatterstar had been engineered for it, genetically built to be stronger, faster, and more durable than standard combatants. His entire existence had been a gladiatorial performance for Mojo's paying audience. He escaped, He crossed dimensions looking for Cable, because someone had told him Cable was the man you found when the fight you were in required more than you could win alone. He didn't understand Xavier's dream, and wasn't particularly interested in learning. He wanted to fight the things that needed fighting. In the context of what was being built, that was sufficient. Farrell came next, Maria Calasantos, a Morlock, which meant she had made her life underground in the tunnels beneath New York, because the surface world had made its position on visible mutation reasonably clear. She hadn't left the tunnels by choice. Mask was consolidating power underground, demanding loyalty from every mutant beneath the streets. Farrell refused. She had a sister down there, Thorn. Lucia Calasantos, a mutation that mirrored her own. People she was trying to protect. A limited number of options. The X-Mansion wasn't safety. It was the best available alternative to something worse.
The mansion was filling up with people who were there because they had nowhere safer to be. Cable looked at that and saw recruits. I looked at that and saw people who needed it to work. Same team, different understanding of why.
Cable watched Farrell train. He didn't ask for her philosophy. He recognized the specific efficiency of someone who had spent years treating survival as a technical problem rather than a moral one. He was building a team. She was exactly what he needed. Not everyone stayed. Roberto da Costa, Sunspot, had been with the New Mutants since the beginning. He absorbed solar energy and converted it to strength, and he had done that in service of a dream he genuinely believed in. His father was Emmanuel da Costa, a wealthy man, a complicated one. When Emmanuel died, a man named Gideon appeared. Gideon was an external, one of a small group of mutants believed to be functionally immortal, cycling through death and resurrection across centuries. He was very good at arriving at the precise moment when grief had made someone available to be reshaped. He told Roberto his father had been an external, that Roberto might be one too, that there was a larger life available, one that fit the actual scale of what he was. Roberto left, not with anger, not with a final argument about Cable or Xavier. He left the way people leave things that no longer fit them, quietly, towards someone who appeared to understand the shape of the future better than anyone currently in the room. He was being manipulated. He didn't know it yet.
Roberto leaving hit different. Ileana, Doug, those were losses we grieved together. Roberto just walked out towards something that looked like better, and I didn't know enough then to understand what Gideon actually was.
James Proudstar came home to Camp Verde on an ordinary day. His tribe, the Apache people of the Camp Verde Reservation in Arizona, had been his reason for refusing Cable's offer when it first came. He had history with the X-Men that made cooperation complicated. His brother John, Thunderbird, had died on the X-Men's first field operation. The institution had never adequately reckoned with that. James had spent years with the Hellions, Emma Frost's students, because proximity to the X-Men's enemies felt like the closest available thing to accountability. Then he left the Hellions. Cable extended an offer. James said no. He went home. Every man on the reservation was dead. Every woman. Every child. The mask left at the scene was Hellfire Club, mercenary issue, equipment contracted through Emma Frost's network. Left there with contempt or carelessness, or both.
I said no to Cable because I still believed there was something worth protecting and standing apart, in not becoming what the war wanted me to be. Then I came home, and there was no one left to protect. So I called Cable, and I told him I'd changed my mind.
He chose the name Warpath, not Thunderbird. That name was his brother's, and James Proudstar had too much respect for John's memory to wear it. What he brought to X-Force was not a philosophy. It was a man who had nothing left to lose, choosing to stand between everything that remained and whatever came next. There's a woman in this part of the story. She goes by Domino, Cable's partner, the probability manipulator who had been at his side through operations the rest of the team had no clearance to know about. The person he trusted more than anyone to tell him when he was wrong. That wasn't me. Her name was Vanessa Carlysle, call sign Copycat, a shapeshifter, one of the most precise in the world, hired by a man named Tolliver before Cable ever walked through Xavier's door. The real Neena Thurman had been taken prisoner before the new mutants knew Cable's name. While Vanessa sat in my briefings, ran my ops, and reported everything back to an employer none of them had ever heard of, I was somewhere else entirely. Every team has a lie buried in its foundation. X-Force's lie knew my preferred grip on a sidearm. GW Bridge knew about Cable, a SHIELD operative who had once worked alongside Nathan Summers in operations no government ever officially acknowledged. He had been tasked with bringing Cable in, working through Department K, building a file on a man he had once trusted and now hunted. The file was thick. Bridge was good at his job. Stopping Cable specifically is not a simple proposition for anyone who has watched him operate under real pressure. Bridge knew that better than most. In August 1991, Marvel released X-Force Issue 1, polybagged, 5 different trading cards, 1 per pack, one of them a first appearance of a character named Deadpool, which would eventually be worth more than the comic itself. 5 million copies sold, second only to X-Men #1 in the history of the speculator boom. 5 million people bought it. Most of them didn't fully understand what they were buying. What they were buying was Cable's answer to the question Xavier's dream had always raised and never quite resolved. What happens when being right isn't enough?
I didn't build X-Force because Xavier was wrong. I built it because being right wasn't enough. It never has been. In any century I've lived through.
X-Force deployed, one by one. Shatterstar, Hollow Swords, Gladiator's Economy, a man bred for war who chose to fight one worth having. Feral, Maria Calasantos, who had spent her life treating survival as a technical problem and was now surrounded by people who understood that instinct. Warpath, James Proudstar, the last man standing from Camp Verde, carrying a grief that had been converted into purpose without ever being resolved. Sam Guthrie, field leader, the boy from Kentucky who had learned to hold 2 true things at once, Xavier's faith and Cable's realism. The knowledge that both were necessary, the knowledge that neither alone was sufficient. And Cable. Nathan Summers, the man who had spent his entire existence preparing for a war that most of the people around him refused to believe was coming. It was coming. It had always been coming. Now he had a team. Xavier never fully understood what Cable had made from his students. He saw the result, a strike team, disciplined and dangerous, operating on principles that bore only a passing resemblance to the ones he had spent decades building, and recognized something in it that disturbed him less than he expected. Because the members of X-Force had not abandoned the dream. They had decided to pay for it. Sam Guthrie still believed in coexistence. Warpath still believed in justice. Even Shatterstar, who came from a world with no word for hope, had found something in the act of fighting alongside people he had chosen to trust. Cable had not replaced the dream. He had handed it a weapon. Whether it could survive what that cost, what it always costs, to arm a belief, was a question X-Force would spend years trying to answer. I showed up eventually. The team Cable built without me, using my name and my face. I joined it. Because that's the thing about Neena Thurman. I don't let other people write my ending. Some questions are only answered in the living of them. Because some legends aren't just remembered, they survive.